All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling one of the oldest, simplest, but still one of the most powerful tools out there for spotting a potential stock market bargain, the price-to-book ratio. Let's break down exactly what it is and why it still matters.
You know, it doesn't matter if you're a seasoned pro or just dipping your toes in. Every single investor wrestles with this one fundamental question. Are you actually paying a fair price for a piece of that company, or are you just getting swept up in the latest market hype? Let's figure out how you can tell the difference.
To even begin to answer that, you've got to understand that pretty much every company leads a kind of double life. See, there's the story the market is telling, all about its future, its potential, its buzz. And then there's the story its own accounting books tell, the hard, cold, undeniable facts.
Okay, so let's jump right into our first section and try to get a handle on that question, what is a company really worth? We're going to look at that gap between what it's worth on paper and what people think it's worth.
And honestly, the best way to get your head around this is to forget about stocks entirely for a minute. Let's think about something we all understand a bit better: buying a house.
When you're looking at a house, there's the asking price, right? And that's based on all sorts of things: the neighborhood, how hot the market is, what other houses are going for. But then, underneath all that, there's the simple value of the physical stuff, the foundation, the lumber, the actual plot of land it sits on. And those two numbers, they are almost never the same. Got that house analogy locked in? Good. Now let's take that exact same logic and apply it directly to companies, because that asking price and that physical value have perfect parallels in the stock market.
So on one side, you have the market value. This is the company's asking price. It's that ticker price you see flashing on your screen, and it's bouncing around all day long, based on news, on investor sentiment, and especially on hopes for what the company might become in the future.
Then, on the other side of the coin, we have book value. This is your bricks and land value. It's a much more boring, straightforward accounting number. It answers a simple question. If this company sold off everything it owns today and used that cash to pay off every single one of its debts, what would be left over for the shareholders? That's its book value.
And that, right there, is the crucial difference you have to grasp. Market value is forward-looking, it's emotional, and it changes literally every second. Book value is backward-looking, it's based on historical costs, and it only gets updated 4 times a year.
So what do you do with these two completely different numbers? One is all about hopes and dreams, the other is rooted in history. How in the world do you use them together to make a smarter decision?
Well, that's where this really clever little tool comes in. It acts as a bridge, connecting that world of market perception with the world of accounting reality. And it's called the price-to-book ratio, or just PB for short. And the formula itself? It's about as straightforward as it gets. You literally just take the market's current price for one single share and you divide it by the accounting book value of that exact same share. It's a head-to-head comparison of perception versus reality. Now you might be wondering, where does that book value per share number even come from? Well, you just have to crack open the company's balance sheet. You take everything it owns, its total assets, and you subtract everything it owes, its total liabilities. What's left is called shareholders' equity. Then you just divide that number by the total number of shares out there, and bingo, you've got your book value per share.
Okay, so we've done the math, and we have our ratio. We have a number. Now for the fun part. What is this thing actually telling us? What secrets about the company is it revealing?
This is where it all comes together. If the P/B ratio is greater than 1, it means investors are optimistic. They're willing to pay a premium over what the company's net assets are officially worth, probably because they're betting on big future growth. Now, if the ratio is less than 1, that's where things get interesting. It means the market is pessimistic, valuing the company for less than its parts. Now, that could be a major red flag, or it could be the signal that you've just stumbled upon a deeply undervalued gem.
But, and this is a really important but, the P/B ratio is not a magic wand. You can't just slap it on any company and expect a useful answer. It's a specialized tool, and you have to know when and where to use it.
So, where does PB really shine? Well, think about industries that own a ton of physical or financial stuff. We're talking banks with their huge loan books, manufacturing companies with giant factories, or even real estate firms. For these kinds of businesses, book value is a pretty solid anchor for what they're actually worth. But you flip that coin over and you see where PB really starts to fall apart. When you look at the giants of the modern economy, software companies, service-based businesses, companies built on a powerful brand, their most valuable assets aren't buildings or machines. They're things you can't touch. And the reason for that is pretty simple, really.
Book value comes from old-school accounting rules, rules that were designed for an industrial world of factories and inventory. They're just not built to put a dollar value on things like brand reputation, brilliant software code, patents, or customer loyalty, which for many companies today is the whole ballgame.
Despite all that, for the absolute legend of value investing, Benjamin Graham, the PB ratio was a cornerstone of his philosophy. He famously hunted for companies with a low PB because to him, that signaled a margin of safety. It meant he was getting a chance to buy the company's assets for less than they were even worth on the books. Talk about a bargain.
So what's the bottom line here? The price-to-book ratio is not the answer to everything. It's not a silver bullet. But it is an absolutely fantastic lens for one very specific job. It helps you slice through all the market noise and see exactly how much you're paying for a company's cold, hard, tangible assets.
And that leaves us with a huge question to chew on, right? In today's economy, which is so driven by ideas, by brands, by intellectual property, is a financial metric that mostly ignores all of that still the right anchor to tether our decisions to? That's something every single one of us has to think about.
All right, let's put on our detective hats today, shall we? We're going to dive into the stock market and focus on one key number that can help you uncover a company's hidden story.
It's the classic question every single one of us has faced, right? You're looking at a stock, it seems cheap, but is it a hidden gem just waiting to be found? Or is it a value trap that's about to tank your portfolio? Well, that's the exact mystery we're here to solve.
And your very first clue, your starting point in this whole investigation, is a really simple metric, the price-to-book ratio. You'll hear it called P/B, and trust me, it's a foundational tool for separating a real opportunity from a serious risk.
So you got to understand, the PB ratio isn't just some random number. No, it's a signal. It's a clue about how the market feels, a hint about what people expect in terms of growth, and an indicator of perceived risk. But just like any good clue, you have to know how to interpret it.
So what is it exactly? Well, to put it super simply, the PB ratio just compares a company's stock price to its book value. Think of it like this. You're comparing the price tag you see on the shelf to what the company is actually worth on paper. All its assets minus all its liabilities. Okay, so how do we start reading this clue? Where do you even begin? Well, the very first step is to see where the P/B ratio stands next to one single critical number, 1. So if the PB ratio is less than 1, it means you could theoretically buy the entire company for less than its net assets are even worth. Now, your first instinct might be to scream bargain, but it could also be a red flag for serious problems. On the flip side, a PB over 1 suggests the market sees value beyond just the raw assets, things like future growth or a really powerful brand. But this is just the first layer of the onion.
And hold on, not so fast. You can't analyze a clue in a vacuum. Any good detective knows that context is everything. The real meaning of a company's PB ratio depends heavily on its neighborhood, and by that I mean its industry. And this chart here just lays it all out perfectly. Look at this. For sectors like banking and manufacturing, where physical, tangible assets are king, PB is a highly reliable clue. Makes sense, right? But then you jump over to a tech company where the value is in its code and patents, or a consumer brand built on reputation. Well, the PB ratio can be seriously misleading because those valuable assets don't even show up on the balance sheet.
Okay, let's take it a step further, because any good detective knows you never, ever rely on just one piece of evidence. To get a much clearer picture, we need to pair our P/B clue with a measure of the company's quality. And one of the absolute best for this job is return on equity, or ROE.
In this matrix, this is basically your investigative grid. It's awesome. It shows you exactly how powerful it is to combine these two numbers. See a low P/B with low profitability? That's your potential value trap. A high P/B with high profitability? That's a strong performer. No surprise. But the real sweet spot, the potential hidden gem you're looking for, is right there in the top right. A low P/B combined with high profitability. That suggests a company that the market might be overlooking even though it's running super efficiently.
And this right here, this is the holy grail for a lot of value investors. The goal is to find a company that's both cheap compared to its assets and incredibly good at generating profits from those assets. It's really the financial equivalent of finding a diamond in the rough.
Okay, so this is all great information, but what's the point? How do you actually use this knowledge and turn it into a repeatable strategy? How do you actively go out and hunt for these opportunities?
Here's a really simple, but honestly super powerful playbook you can use.
First, you screen for stocks with a P/B ratio below 1. That gives you a list of potentially undervalued companies. Second, you filter that list for companies with a return on equity that's actually higher than their industry average. This helps weed out the duds. And finally, step 3, you check for a low debt-to-equity ratio, just to make sure that low PB isn't just an illusion caused by a mountain of debt.
But, and this is important, even the best detectives have their blind spots. Before you think you've cracked the case, you have to remember what the P/B ratio just can't see. It completely misses the value of intangible things like brands and patents. It can get skewed by accounting rules and high debt, and it can't always account for pure market hype or speculation.
All right, so let's wrap up this whole investigation with a final verdict. Here's the absolute best way to think about it. PB tells you the price you're paying for a company's assets. ROE tells you about the quality of how that company actually uses its assets. When you use them together, you get a powerful, balanced view, especially for businesses where those physical assets really matter. So there you have it. You've got a fundamental detective's tool in your toolkit now. The question isn't just, is it a bargain or a trap anymore? With this new lens, the real question is, what opportunities will you uncover? What case will you build?
All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful, but also one of the most misused tools in all of finance, the price-to-book ratio. Forget seeing it as just some number on a screen. By the end of this, you're going to see it as a whole strategic toolkit.
So you've been there, right? You're staring at a stock that just looks cheap. But then that little voice in your head starts whispering. Is this a total bargain, a hidden gem, or is it a value trap, just waiting to snap shut on your portfolio? It's a tough call.
Well, that hesitation, a lot of times it boils down to just one number. But here's the thing, and this is the secret sauce. Most people look at that number all by itself, and that is a huge mistake. We're about to show you the right way to use it.
Okay, so let's completely reframe how we think about this. I want you to stop thinking of the PB ratio as just one metric. Nope. From now on, picture it as your own personal strategic toolkit. You've got different tools in there, and you're going to learn which one to pull out for which job.
All right, so what exactly is this thing? At its core, the price-to-book ratio is pretty simple. It just compares the company's price on the stock market to its book value. And what's book value? Well, just imagine the company sold everything it owns and paid off every single debt. Whatever's left over for the shareholders, that's the book value. But look at that phrase here, actionable analytical instrument. That's the key. This isn't some dusty academic number. It's a tool designed to help you make a decision.
So let's peek inside this toolkit. What do we got? Well, we've got tools to compare different companies side by side. We've got a way to see if a stock is a bargain compared to its direct competitors. We've got stuff to combine with other numbers to get the full picture. And the whole point of all this, to help you make smarter, more risk-aware decisions. Okay, let's grab our first tool. This is the big one, screening for potential bargains. This is the classic way people use the PB ratio, kind of like a giant sieve to filter through the entire market, trying to catch those hidden gems.
So how do you actually do this? It's a three-step process. First, you run your screen. You're looking for companies with a low P/B, usually below 1. That's a sign the market might be valuing it for less than its assets are worth. But, and this is critical, you cannot stop there. Step 2 is the quality check. Is this company actually making money? We look at something called return on equity, or ROE, to see if they're profitable. And then step 3, the final check, the safety check. You got to look at their debt. I mean, a low P/B is worthless if the company's about to go belly up, right?
Okay, so screening is our starting point. But the real magic happens when we pull out our next tool, comparison. This is where the P/B ratio really starts to show its power. And check this out, because this illustrates probably the single most important rule of using PB. Let's say you see two companies, and they both have a PB ratio of 10. One is a hot tech company, the other is a boring old bank. For the tech company, with all its valuable code and brand recognition, stuff you can't touch, a PB of 10 might be fine, totally normal. But for the bank, whose assets are mostly cold, hard cash and loans, a PB of 10 would be a massive, flashing red alert signal for overvaluation. It proves one thing: context is absolutely everything. And it's not just about comparing one company to another. You can also compare a company to, well, to its own past. Just track its P/B ratio over a few years. You start to see a pattern. If a great company suddenly hits a 5-year low on its PB, that could be a sign it's on sale. On the flip side, if it's hitting a 5-year high, maybe it's time to think if it's getting a little too expensive. All right, you've got the basics down.
Let's level up and get into some more advanced strategies. Because here's the thing, not everyone uses this toolkit the same way. A value investor and a growth investor are going to pull out different tools for different reasons.
So let's just bust a common myth right now. PB is not just for value investors. Sure, your classic value investor is going to hunt for a low PB in industries with a lot of physical stuff, looking for that margin of safety. But what about a growth investor? They might look at a high PB and think, yeah, that's fine because I'm betting on massive future growth. And then you've got your deep value folks, the real bargain hunters, who are laser focused on finding companies with a PB under 1, hoping for a big turnaround.
And now for something really cool. It's like a secret formula that ties everything together. The Power Trio. It shows you how a company's PE ratio is directly linked to its PB ratio and its profitability, its ROE. Why is this so powerful? It means you don't have to be scared of a high PB if it's backed up by a really high ROE. It's the combination of the two that tells you what's really going on.
Okay, we've talked about how powerful this toolkit is. But like any power tool, it comes with a user manual and some big warning labels. You absolutely have to know where this tool can go wrong before you start using it.
And here is the #1 biggest can't miss it red flag: negative book value. This happens when a company's debts are bigger than its assets. If you see this, the book value is negative and the P/B ratio becomes totally meaningless garbage. The tool is broken. Just put it down and walk away.
And there are a few other situations where you need to be super careful. We've already mentioned tech and service companies, right? Their most valuable assets are often invisible to the book value calculation. Also, be wary of companies in deep financial trouble. That super low PB might not be a bargain, it might just be a sign of huge risk. And finally, just remember that accounting can be, well, flexible. Different rules can change the book value, so keep an eye out for that.
So if you remember one thing, let it be this. This is the golden rule. A low PSB is not a buy signal. It's a start digging signal. And a high PSB isn't a sell signal. It's a check for great profitability signal. In other words, it's always the start of your homework, never the end.
Okay, we've opened up the toolkit. We've looked at all the different instruments inside. Now let's put it all together. Let's build a simple, practical framework you can literally use step by step for your own analysis.
And here it is, your complete 6-step game plan. Step 1, you start with that initial P/B screen to find candidates. Step 2, you immediately dig into the fundamentals. We're talking profitability like ROE and debt levels. Step 3, you put it in context by comparing it to its industry peers. Step 4, you look back in time and analyze its historical P/B. Step 5, you have to look forward and factor in its growth potential. And then finally, step 6, you bring it all home with a final risk assessment. See, a complete process.
And really, that's the whole point of this entire explainer. The P/B ratio isn't a magic wand that you can just wave to find great stocks. Its real power only gets unlocked when you make it one part of a bigger system, a system where you're always balancing valuation with quality, with growth, and with risk.
So there you have it. The PB Strategic Toolkit is now officially yours. You know what's inside, you know the different ways to use it, and you know the safety warnings. So the only question left is what are you going to go analyze first?